Millions of years ago, the prehistoric humans lived a hard life. There seems to be no difference between humans and animals. Both creatures have to survive through hunting. The strong lived. The coward died. There were no rules of living life. The only they know was survival through hunt. Every hunt was dangerous. One mistake could mean death. They used everything from the animals they killed: meat for eating, skin for clothes, bones for tools. Nothing was wasted. Children learned to hunt. Young, they played with small spears. They watched adults kill. This was just a normal life. Hunting wasn't fun. It wasn't a game. It was the only way to survive. Every morning, the hunters woke up with one thought: find food or die. Hunger never stayed away for long. Even after a big kill, their stomachs would soon be empty again. They moved in small groups, always following the animals across plains, forests, and rivers. They carried spears with sharp stone tips, tied with animal tendons. Their clothes were made from skins of past hunts. The cold wind cut their faces, but they kept walking. Stopping meant losing the trail. Sometimes the prey was easy. An old deer, weak and slow, left behind by its herd. But most of the time, it was strong, fast, and ready to fight back. They chased antelope in the open land, running until the animal collapsed from exhaustion. They hunted wild boar in thick forests. Knowing one wrong move could mean a tusk ripping into their legs, they hunted silently. One careless sound could scare the prey far away. They learned the ways of the wind. If it carried their smell toward the animals, the hunt was lost before it began. They studied the ground. The sharp split hoof of deer, the round paw of big cats, the heavy, deep prints of mammoths. But every hunt carried danger. Lions and saber-toothed cats hunted the same prey. They were faster, stronger, and always hungry. Sometimes the hunters found themselves hunted. When they killed, they had to work fast. The smell of fresh blood called hyenas, wolves, and vultures from far away. If the hunters stayed too long, they risked losing everything: the meat and maybe their own lives. Nothing was wasted. Meat was cut and dried for later. Fat was stored for the cold months. Skins became clothes and blankets. Bones were turned into knives, spear points, and needles. Even the sinew was saved for bowstrings and cords. Children grew up in this world. At 5 years old, they learned to throw small spears. By 10, they joined the hunt. By 12, they had seen death. Not just of animals, but of people they knew. There was no mercy in this life. If someone was too injured to walk, the group could not wait. Moving slow meant starving or being killed. Many were left behind. Millions of years ago, the world was wild. Prehistoric humans lived side by side with deadly predators. One of them was the giant snake. Strong, silent, patient. It could crush the life out of any animal, even humans. In the thick forest, near the river, a man moves quietly. His eyes search the ground. Under a pile of leaves, he finds them. Large, smooth, warm snake eggs food was always hard to find. These eggs could keep him alive for another day. He breaks one open, eats it quickly. In this world, nothing is wasted, but the giant snake does not forget. It returns, following the scent, to the camp. Night falls. The man sleeps. The fire burns low from the darkness. The snake strikes. Its body wraps around him, tighter and tighter. He cannot breathe. His chest feels like stone. The tribe wakes. They shout. No! They grab spears, heavy sticks, stones. They strike again and again. The snake loosens. It slides away into the black forest. The man lies on the ground, weak, in pain. His people give him water. They chew fresh leaves and press them to his wounds. That is their medicine, but to heal, he must eat. The next day, hunters go to the river. They stand still, spears in hand. A flash of silver. The spear strikes. A fish is caught, cooked over fire, given to the injured man. In the age of prehistoric humans, danger was everywhere. Every choice could mean life or death. Even something as small as taking an egg could bring a deadly enemy to your home. The man recovered, slowly. But recovery was never full in the prehistoric world. Wounds left scars. Pain never truly left the body, and danger never left the land. Every day was a new trial. The tribe woke at dawn, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. The early light was their signal. It was time to search again for what would keep them alive for one more day. Food was never certain. Some days the hunt brought back meat, fresh and warm from the kill. Other days, only bitter roots or hard berries that barely eased the hunger. Hunger was an old friend to these people. It stayed with them in the heat of summer and the cold of winter. The rivers were not always kind. When the rains came, they roared with deadly force. Hunters who slipped vanished under the water, carried away in seconds. When the dry season came, the same rivers shrank to muddy trickles. Fish became scarce. Animals moved far away in search of water, and the humans had to follow. Movement meant risk. New places meant new dangers. A quiet valley could be the home of a hidden predator. A forest full of fruit could also hide stinging insects, whose bites burned for days. At night there was no safety. The fire gave light. It kept some animals away, but not all. The big cats watched from the shadows. Their eyes reflected the firelight. Two small glowing spots in the dark. They waited for a mistake, for the fire to go out, for a child to wander too far. Every step in this world required awareness. A cracked twig underfoot could alert a predator. A careless hand reaching into a bush could meet the strike of a snake. Even drinking water could bring danger. For in those still waters, crocodiles waited. They looked like logs until they moved, faster than the human eye could follow. The tools of the prehistoric humans were simple. Spears, sharpened stones, wooden clubs. But their strength was not in their tools. It was in their unity. They hunted together. They fought together. They survived together. When one hunter was injured, The others shared food. When a child was orphaned, the tribe took them in. Without this unity, they could not survive. For alone, a human was nothing in this world. The seasons brought endless change. The dry heat baked the land. Cracks spread through the earth. The grass turned brittle and yellow. The herds of animals moved away in search of greener land. The humans followed, walking for days, carrying only what they could hold. Water was carried in animal skins. Every drop was precious, every sip measured. When the rains returned, the land came alive again. Grass grew high, rivers swelled, herds returned, and the hunters followed their trails. But with the herds came predators, lions, hyenas, wolves. They too were hungry, and they too hunted in groups. A hunt was never just a hunt. It was a battle of wits. The humans used their eyes and their ears, their memory of the land. They read the marks in the dirt, the broken twigs, the faint smell of an animal carried by the wind. Sometimes the prey was too fast. Sometimes it fought back. A wounded antelope could kick hard enough to break a bone. A cornered boar could slash with tusks that cut like blades. Every kill was hard won. Every meal was a victory, and every victory won was temporary, for tomorrow. The struggle began again. The elders of the tribe carried the knowledge of survival. They knew which plants healed wounds and which brought sickness. They knew how to find water in dry land, digging deep into the ground. They taught the young how to throw a spear, how to hide in tall grass, how to read the language of tracks. This knowledge was life itself. Without it, the tribe would be blind in the wilderness. But even with all their skill, the land did not forgive mistakes. A wrong turn could lead into a predator's den. A sudden storm could flood the lowlands in minutes. A simple fall, breaking a leg, could mean death. Yet they endured. They had to. There was no other choice. Because in the age of prehistoric humans, there was no comfort, no safety, no escape. There was only the hunt, the constant search for food and water, the fight against the cold and the heat and the beasts that shared the land. The man who had faced the giant snake now walked with the others. His scars were a reminder, not just of pain, but of the rule that guided their lives. Take from the land, but know the land will take back. This was the unspoken law, the law that shaped every step, every breath, every decision they made. And so, day after day, the tribe moved. Eyes watching the trees, ears listening for movement in the grass, always alert, always ready, because in this world, only those who were ready survived. And this was life, millions of years ago. World where every sunrise was a test, and every sunset was a victory. If you wish to journey deeper into the untold stories of our prehistoric humans, like this video and share with your friends who love prehistoric humans era, and subscribe so you never miss the next step into history.